Okay, so let's just talk about a few of our options for our next step, shall we? So we could just start transferring our untested embryos right away without suppression, but since my BCL6 was a 2.8, that's probably not the best idea. We could wait until August to do another egg retrieval in Colorado or Florida, since there's a backup and a pause and a wait at our fertility clinic. We can't do anything in July, we can't do anything in June, we've already lost May, so we're literally on pause. Plus, my husband wants to start transferring. He doesn't want to do any more egg retrievals, so there's also that. So July and June are already scratched, as I said, but what I could do is I could do a lap for silent endo to get the ball rolling for transfers, right? However, there's not that many trusted doctors in Florida that actually do this procedure. And I'm not even sure I really need it. And whoever does it really needs to know what they're doing, because there's a risk because they're so close to my reproductive organs. The doctor I really trusted says I don't need it, but since we have so few embryos, I want to cover all of my bases, and I would rather get endo and sites than put my body into suppression, which literally puts my body into menopause, so I would like to avoid that if I could. Plus, I've been pregnant 3 times, so I'm not even sure that I actually need suppression in the first place, and the receptiva test where I got the BCL6 is not always accurate. So we could, in theory, in the meantime of all of this, while we're waiting and getting ready for transfers, we could push all of our embryos to blast and to test them, which may mean that we end up with 0 embryos at the end, which I don't want to do. And we also know that especially for older women, they sometimes can do better in the womb, and they could potentially autocorrect themselves, so that's why we want to keep those day 3 embryos and those day 5 untested embryos, and we know I know people have had success with them. So the most probable plan is to do a lap or suppression in the next few months, do a hysteroscopy, do fertility vaginal and uterine microbiome testing, an extensive list of blood tests, plus a 3-month gut protocol, and then start transferring untested embryos. However, we have to remember that even after all this preparation, these transfers could lead to failed implantation, for lack of a better word, since you need multiple embryos to actually have a successful pregnancy. Plus, they could lead to pregnancy losses, or we could even have to terminate a pregnancy because they are chromosomally abnormal. However, you could still have a loss even with a chromosomally normal embryo, so it's just kind of like, what risk do you want to take? But if you don't have other options, then you have to go forward. So since we have multiple embryos, it means we have multiple tries, which is a good thing. So unless we get lucky right away, this can take a lot of time. So that means this could even take months or even a year to do all of this. And by that point, my eggs would be much older. So we've also, obviously, we've had to have the conversation about donor eggs, even though I'm not fully ready for that, and I don't think it's just completely my eggs. So all of these things that we have to decide based on about cost, about time availability, about insurance, about what I want, what my husband wants, how our relationship can handle it. And I said all of this really, really fast and really, really confusing to prove a point. I feel pretty clear about my next steps, more or less. But I said all this in this way because I really want people to understand what it is like in the brain of people going through fertility journeys. The kind of decisions that we are having to constantly make is endless, and we don't know which is the best one.